cold in here, isn't it?
Shall I close the window for you? Would you like the heating on?
Can you just close the window?
You know. Hey there, frackers. So, we watched episode 9 of Battlestar Galactica, and with me I have again...
Rich.
And Pete.
And I'm Dan, otherwise known as Twisted View. So, let's kickstart then, I suppose, with initial thoughts and feelings. And we'll start with Pete this time, because we usually start with Rich, but overall thoughts?
To summarise, I call it contextual paranoia. I think there was loads of things going on where we're clearly seeing the other side of the coin, but they're not, which I found very enjoyable. Lots of humour in this episode as well. Lots of which I think is considering the contrast, very good.
Excellent. Rich?
I don't really know what I saw, if I'm honest. And I'm really hoping I can pump you two full of information.
Are you pumping me for information about the old man?
Pumping you for something.
You're going to get pumped.
Oh, God.
Because
no.
It felt like a sitcom. It felt like with all these relationships flaring up and people getting angry at each other, I don't really understand what I saw. So I'm going to let you two explain it to me.
Well, I definitely would agree that tonally very different.
Very
to
different.
anything
Very
else
different
we've done.
vibe. You know, the main feature was around Ellen, you know, Colonel Tigh or Exo Ty's wife coming in to this episode completely out of nowhere. Turns out she isn't a Cylon, which would have been the...
Or is she?
Or is she, I guess.
Because Gaius obviously...
At the end, we found out his tests actually aren't even testing anyone. Few reveals in there. But yeah, I feel like the episode, as you say, contextual paranoia, it just played on, really emphasised President Roslin's, you know, scepticism over everyone and everything, really. I mean...
I think people in sensitive positions should go first.
I completely agree. How about you? What'd you find out?
Doctor, I would like you to call me the moment Commander Adama's test is complete. Dr. Balter, I would like you to resume testing Commander Adama's blood sample immediately.
You want to be very, very careful with what you just said.
Advise you right now not to say anything that you will regret.
Did you tell him to stop Ellen's tests?
Yes, I did.
Your wife's name is Ellen?
Yes, it is.
Resume the test on Ellen.
Oh my God. No wonder he needs a fucking stress wank.
And possibly her relationship going forward with Captain Adama.
Yes, so I thought it was very, like, same as what you put. I put down theme of the episode, mistrust.
Yeah, big time.
So there was something about that where you're beginning to see the relationships between different people. Going to the very beginning of the episode, you had Adama and Roslin, and you had that bit where he was at the bottom, she was looking down over him, and you could see just through the look in their eyes before there was even any dialogue that there was a sense of mistrust going on, and something's changed in the relationship dynamics.
You know how you like to look at episodes and think, what's the bigger picture, what's the overall message? I felt like the Cylon spinning around for the entire episode was really a reflection of what we learned in this episode, nothing, because things just went back around and around, and it's just, yeah, I don't think we made any progress. We just, a lot of people argued with each other.
Yeah,
I think progress was definitely made, because now because we've been waiting on the Cylon detective for 8 episodes now, and now they have what they believe is definitive proof backed by science by a genius. Yeah, despite his own agendas. Is now they will probably trust each other a little bit more. They've gone through the proverbial ring of fire in their relationships. So while you say that the relationships between Adama and Roslin will move forward differently, of course it will, because they'll probably trust the fact that the science is there. They'll believe it a lot more, even though Adama has not actually been proven positive or negative yet. But,
no fuss.
I think that they will. I think now that they kind of realise that each of them jumped the gun in some respect.
Your wife's name is Ellen?
Yes, it is.
Resume the test on Ellen.
Oh my God. No wonder he needs a fucking stress wank. Except Colonel Tigh, he was always loyal to Adama.
Yeah,
I had that
right
noted.
up to the end. Tigh will always be that kind of guy because
I think
he
that's
knows
his.
that he's always pulled him out the fire.
Exactly, and I think one of the things, so we'll talk about that Ellen coming into it, is that she feels very much like an agent of chaos.
Oh god, yeah.
Like you put her in there, and then suddenly it's just everything's kind of getting shot left, right, and centre. And one of the things that I really did like to see, despite that introduction of what Adama was worried about, which would cause him to spiral, his loyalty still remains very solid and on point.
I think the phrase I think of when I look at Ellen is, and I mean this in every sense of the word, loose lips sink ships.
You might wonder if a kindergarten teacher is really the right person to be president, but this is a tiny, tiny minority.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Everyone is so... Here, would you join us for a nightcap, Doctor?
I'd love to.
Jesus.
And it's because she started drinking, and it's like, there was no editing mechanism to.
Except
the thing
her
is,
lips.
Adama said she slept with half the fleet while Tigh was away.
Yes, very loose.
And it's sort of like she is an agent of chaos, but her power in all of this will come from the fact that she will drink with somebody, she'll sleep with somebody, and get the information. She makes herself annoyingly valuable, or to a degree a liability. Because she doesn't care, like she will fire it out there and see what happens. Adama wasn't trying it on with her, but she said it anyway. So she will clearly lie to get a reaction.
I wanted her close to me.
I told you. You wanted me.
And I think maybe she's jealous of his loyalty, or she's jealous.
Oh, there's
of
some envy there, definitely.
There's some shit with Ellen.
You don't want to frack with me, Bill. Try to remember that.
Don't frack with me either, Ellen.
That we're going to find out, and it's going to be juicy as hell. So
Karen, I think she should be called. Helen.
Oh, she is
Space Karen.
I don't know.
Space Karen.
I mean, she.
Good term, Space Karen.
She's like, Space Karen. After a couple of cheeky vinos, just starts gassing about who's shagging who. Yeah, all right.
Well, I kind of like the nature of this episode and this sitcom-esqueness of it, that up until now we've had some very serious episodes, some episodes talking about things that are now like scarce in supply, like for example his whiskey that he's been choking out over the last 28 days, the last tiny drips of it. She turns up and there's alcohol everywhere.
Bottles
it's just
everywhere,
like the glass is flying.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a fact finder to work out why their booze is green, because that just makes me think of absinthe, and I'm like, no wonder they're fucking
poison.
tripping.
Yeah, I mean, it was green, and maybe that was a bit too on the nose. That like poison, they were all being poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like the foreshadowing at the beginning with Tigh, where he's looking at the picture of his wife and he's had the cigarette burn through her face.
Yeah, that stood out to me more. Yeah, so he's obviously very
well, evidence to us what we then later find out, which was what I
very
suppose
resentful towards her, and
because
the way
she
he was treated.
Yes, exactly. So I think there you've got that whole thing where she was toxic and her behaviour was toxic to his entire life, and clearly that was something that he remembered.
Yeah,
it's almost like in some ways as a person she is his poison. So as we saw, like we know that he has a drink problem, but I think she represents that drink problem that he has.
I suppose the bit that made me uncomfortable was the fact that during the episode all those key players have dealt with situations so much better than dealing with a toxic person. Yeah. Like, they've dealt with absolute catastrophe so well, and then this toxic person comes in, they don't really know how to handle it.
But one thing that you kind of did, I think one thing I want to call out is like Adama's emotional intelligence in all of this episode. Because straight off the bat, where you were talking about the first conversation with Roslin, she made a jab at him about being the first to be tested. And he said, "Oh, you know,
Yeah,
if I was a Cylon, you'd be pretty fucked," which I thought was a great line because it kind of shows his bluntness. But at the same time, he took that, and it's like his respect for her, but also the situation, and saying, "Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying." Throughout all of this, he's showing regard for absolutely everybody. I mean, I'm not sure why he pulled Lee into the dinner, but probably just there to, because I was like, I can understand why those four were there, but why was Lee there? But maybe that was just his way of just saying, I need somebody else to diffuse what's going on here.
Yeah.
But
so he could get his turkey plate.
yeah, exactly. She was like foot rubbing his nuts. No wonder he got up and got out. But you look at what Adama's doing. Is that he's showing respect for his friend, like trying to like really be in control of the situation sensitively. And at the end of it, it was like he said, "You saved us. I need you to be good." He was clear about that, so he's doing the friend thing and the commander thing. Shakes his hand. I think Tigh at that point is even more resolute about why he has faith in Adama. I think he just solidifies it even more. Like, he saved his life. They're just great.
I agree with that. The only scepticism I had towards Adama was when he was in that ship and I saw a leg and a red dress. Obviously, it was done like that.
Yeah.
So you think
very well done. And especially as he didn't look at her when he stepped out of the ship.
No.
And I think, it's the way, because I even wrote here, Adama's return, protocol or weird, because he was like, permission to come aboard. And I'm like, is that protocol?
Yeah, they're playing on.
But it's more, and in hindsight, we look back and go, that's his apprehension coming into play, because he's about to effectively introduce this grenade into his battle star.
It's interesting as well, isn't it, that going back to loyalties, and as we spoke about, Tigh obviously being very loyal to Adama, but then you're seeing some loyalty from Adama to Tigh as a friend, and also to the fleet, because even though he knew about her, even though he knew that it was his wife, as he mentioned himself, he waited till the very last moment, and only did it because it's the man's wife. And I think if he had his way from a commander perspective, he would never have told him, because he knows how dangerous she is, just through the way of how she is.
Yeah, and we can all relate to this. Like, it's not even like, oh, we relate to it in a ship sense. No, we all know somebody like Ellen. We have an Ellen in our lives, and we step around them, and they become like this social minefield. Or, and he's just like, damn it, who invited them again? Keep the wine away from them, please.
But he emphasised that he'd known about her existence and tried to keep her away for a while.
Yeah.
Like, he'd sort of, until she requested.
Basically, until she woke up, and then he was like, right, I can't keep this a secret anymore.
Yeah, right. In this bigger context, he's trying to protect the ship, the human race. He's got his exo.
Yeah, exactly.
She is an inconvenience.
Yeah, she's like this micro inconvenience in his massive macro of things that he has to take care of.
So on the other side of the fence, so we've obviously talked about Ellen, the chaos she brings in. I thought the president was very interested in this episode. Like, we spoke a little bit on the previous episode about how she's like the political minefield that she brings in and stuff, and the fact that she will do things that we would have thought might be out of character for her personally if she thinks it's what's right to do. For me, was exemplified here with the going back and forth, changing who the test is on, what has been done, what's going on, even as far as, which I think is actually probably the rattiest thing that I've seen her do recently, at the beginning of the episode where we see Billy with Dee, and we're thinking, oh look, they're finally getting on, and it turns out she was using Billy to pump Dee for information, and I thought that was quite ratty, considering she knows, this is a guy that's not going to get laid otherwise.
Yeah,
so.
And Billy's punching, so it's sort of, it's kind of, he needs to watch out, otherwise he ain't going to be able to do any more pumping, so he needs to get back to pumping.
Drilling work.
Right.
But I think that's the thing, because even Billy was saying, I'm not good with this, and like I think she'll learn from this to go, I got it wrong, because not only did she get it wrong, she jumped to conclusions massively, and that isn't something that she should be doing as the top leader, the political leader of the fleet. It should be, I need to back this up with proper proof, because even Billy was saying this is circumstantial at best, and she wouldn't accept that. So she has to learn the lesson here, or maybe she won't.
I don't think she will. I think her patience is wearing thin, and sometimes she can't hide the fact that there's a lot she wants answers to, and she's not getting them. She's a bit restricted, even as a president, which is why she's using different tactics, like putting Billy in a compromising situation. But yeah, it was interesting jumping back to Dee and Billy to see if their relationship had evolved. But I guess it has. But whereas I don't know if Billy has been forced into making it a relationship for.
I don't know. I think it's more. I think it's a case that he wants the relationship, and she's taking advantage of that relationship. Yeah. Again, like we said, like the political element coming out in her. Maneuver into back on Caprica.
My little halo.
My little halo. Halo.
Halo.
My little halo. Hilo and Sharon are on the run. And I know I mentioned in there, but something, again, very interesting to me is the fact that this is a guy who despite all his better qualities, he hasn't really put two and two together of the fact that here was a woman that originally had flown off into the sun. He's put them onto a transport ship, got away. He's alone on this planet. She magically turns up again. Seems to be like conveniently finding her and not finding her, and then they're conveniently in love when he knew she was with another guy. And
he's not putting two and two together. I'm convinced he's just on a marathon. He's trying to do 26 miles a day. No. Like it's just constantly running from one place to another.
I can excuse his naivety
because she's that hot.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, you see that love makes you do blind things, and you look at Tigh and Ellen. Oh
yeah, actually,
that has been called out in this episode. So
love is blind.
He's always said that he had liked her. He knew about the chief, but ultimately she made her call by coming back to him. So in his mind, he doesn't know about skin jobs.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, so
because he's not been around for it.
So what's there to put together? It's like
that's true.
Yeah, she's gone away. She's come back. That, for him, is just her...
Other than he has seen Six on the planet when Sharon came and killed Six. So there is... Not in the same way as the fleet, but there must be some kind of an awareness. But like you say, maybe he's just been going a million miles an hour. He's just not...
Yeah. He's in, like, permanent survival mode. Like she said, this is adrenaline. Surviving, adrenaline, hot woman. And she's pulling him along. But, you know, at the end of the day, she banged him, so... she pumped him, like, you know... There's a lot of... I think we should call this, like, Pump Star Galactica, you know?
Pump Star Galactica.
There's so much pumping going on different levels. We just need to accept it, you know?
And whilst we're talking about the planet, and going to the very last bit of the episode, where we then saw Doral and Six... talking, that was quite an interesting conversation.
Well, watching Six have a moment of emotion, I guess, where she couldn't. She almost her programming sort of like went a little bit skew-whiff and then went back, where she sort of.
So, what did you take from that?
She's trying to. I think maybe she's trying to evolve or break programming, or whatever. But she's being forced back into. I don't know.
I think it's also the fact that she went after Gaius, assumingly because he would almost be considered not the pinnacle, well, one of the top echelon of men in that society, echelon, because he's smart, he's successful, he's borderline revered, and she's realised that all of the traits that made her attractive to her, or vice versa, is completely different, and that the spectrum that she's working with is deep down. I think there's a lot more there.
I think it's a little bit simpler than that. I think what they're showing us there is, as we know, there's 12 models, etc., many copies, but where she died and downloaded, that is the Six that was physically sleeping with him during the miniseries, and what you saw there was that emotive. She actually misses him.
That's That's what I'm getting at. Sorry, that I think she's having a breakdown in her programming, or maybe she's evolving, that she's actually attached to him in some way.
Because she made reference to Sharon being stronger or more resourceful when she's showing compassion.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, there you then see this like something in that to her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, actually, you know what?
Yeah.
He may be dreaming of her. But he ain't the only one.
Yeah, I like your take, Pete. But that's how I read it. That she was almost fighting the emotion, or maybe this new programming that she's learned. It was almost like conflicting with her doing her job.
Yeah,
it was almost like. So it was great. It was really well portrayed, actually, where she did it.
Dorrell also said it as well. He said, "I haven't yet to experience."
Yeah,
that. So it's almost like they're waiting to either unlock another part of their being,
exactly that,
or to say, they're almost. It's like an excitement of learning, but they don't give a crap about the morality behind it. They're just like, we want to put them in that position so I can then get to feel it.
Exactly that. Yeah.
So it's their curiosity beats everything else.
Yeah.
Lack of a better word.
Like with her and Sharon, though, now that they have, I suppose the difference between thinking about what a feeling might be like and them two have now experienced it is fundamentally changing them.
Yeah.
Although,
so they're, rather than just a learning journey, they're becoming more. Yeah,
although I would argue that they're experiencing different type of reciprocation from both Gaius and Hilo.
Well, in Six's case, she only had him for a short time, and she's been stuck on the planet since.
Yeah, true, but he was fucking around with other women.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, but they've seen what Hilo does, the way he regards Sharon, and I think maybe there's probably a jealousy element there, which I will couple back to when she was on the ship. She was looking at Ellen, and she said,
of course,
you should be watching her. Why?
I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Guys. Baltar, and the pleasure's all mine.
Oh dear.
There's nothing here, isn't there? And you should be watching her.
My first question was, why should he be watching her? Was that a jealous? Maybe it's a fellow Cylon, and Gaius and his thing. So I actually think that, there is probably some jealousy element to that. It's her relationship, but also she's jealous of what the others are feeling and are having shown towards them. It's like, why isn't Gaius that way with me? He fucked other women. But whereas with Sharon, like Hilo's like, I'm tunnelled on you. Despite the fact I'm knackered from running, he is completely... he is a complete puppy in that regard.
Yeah.
I
suppose the four things for me in the episode that correlate with all what we're talking about for me is that I saw... Obviously, we know that Six and Gaius have had the longest, closest relationship out of all the Cylons and the humans. So Six naturally should be evolving quicker or more broadly than everyone else. And we then get that reference from, who's the other guy you said who was walking with her?
Dorrell.
He says, I'm yet to experience that. And that makes sense because he's not had the same relationship that Six and Gaius have had. But as you say, the new emotions that she's starting to show with Ellen and the jealousy and stuff. And then right at the end when they're doing that walk and she does that weird grimace, like she's trying to fight her programming, like this emotion's creeping out of her. She doesn't understand why.
Stifling a cry.
Yeah, she's almost like trying to fight the programming. Like
I know why. I know why she's actually trying to stop that. I bet she's a proper ugly crier.
Yeah.
She goes full Tobey Maguire and just, she doesn't want us to see that on camera.
But to me, I thought it was so well done, and it just rang like, she's trying to fight programming because she's evolving.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts on the episode from either of you?
I think just Gaius being caught literally with his pants down.
I mean, it is just mental. No. No.
Having a wank by Starbuck
continues to be brilliant.
Absolutely the cream of the episode.
Possibly even stopping him from being able to get Starbuck because now she's seen him.
Yeah, I don't know, or maybe
she's into it.
Maybe she's seen what little Gaius has to offer.
Little G,
little G.
Little GB is, she might come back for that. She probably might walk away and laugh her ass off at it. But I thought that was I really enjoyed the comedic elements of the cringy comedic elements of the episode. It's broken up the tone of the last nine episodes in the miniseries, which has been very bleak and very... So it's good to see some comedy.
Was that your impression of Six? What is this? It's a...
but yeah, that nothing more from me.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just a mixed bag of some reveals, some character development, but then a lot of arguing, a lot of, as you say, Agent Chaos Ellen just causing a lot of unnecessary drama.
Yeah, I think it's like lots of tension, like an ebb and flow around tension.
Cool, which brings me on to the Death Note. Is there...
I want Ellen on it.
Yes.
I want Ellen on it.
Yeah, buddy.
That's the weirdest Eiffel Tower ever.
All right, well, you can dream about that one later. Yeah, Ellen is going to now be just like a permanent fixture on top of that.
I want her to get hit by a large boulder.
Maybe she can get hit by the Battlestar itself, just straight up bang.
Yeah.
Although that probably still wouldn't be the biggest thing to plough.
I'm hoping somebody's going to be. I'm hoping somebody's going to be wheeling some missiles somewhere and one goes shooting off and kills her.
So I suppose the question: your wants aside, do you think she will get got at some point, or do you think that's just a happy fantasy?
As TV goes, obviously they're not going to kill her off because she makes for a too entertaining story. But I think at some point definitely, because they're going to have the impact it will have on Tigh will be catastrophic. So. We shall see. And also, we don't even know she's a Cylon. She could be. I don't think
we'll
she
get
is,
to that in a sec.
Yeah. And that's that. Yeah, that's it for the moment.
Okay, so we're adding Ellen to the Death Note. And then we'll do a little praise session on every episode thereafter to see when it may or may not happen. Leading us on to the Ratometer.
The world's brightest rat.
I mean, he's... what we set at 7, was it? What was he set at?
Yeah, he was around 7, I think, last time.
Yeah,
7.5.
Yeah, I think he'd come back down after his kind of leap off the edge of it from a few episodes ago when he was...
And what was his... And what's the limit? It's 10, isn't it?
We've been doing it as a scale of 1 to 10, generally speaking.
I'm putting him straight back up to 9.
Yeah.
Purely for the fact that the entire reason for his existence and everything he's been working towards was to create a Cylon detector, and he hasn't even done it.
Well, he has.
Okay, he has.
But he's now lying about the results.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's just worse. It's going to cause chaos.
The things are, I kind of weirdly sympathise with him because during that episode, he actually showed in time how long he is going to spend testing that entire fleet.
Yes.
And the thing is, though, he's basically been pushed into this position. And whereas everybody else is going to be doing things for a determinate amount of time, he has been told that for the next 60, in his mind, he's going to spend the next 60 years. And you saw what Roslin was like, stop, start, stop, start.
And also, as well as that, he was witness to the mass argument going on. And I think that's where his line, no muss, no fuss, became a thing. Because he's looking at all that going, 61 years of this.
Yeah, and you think every single person that gets put under scrutiny, he's going to have to maybe deal with that kind of shit. So
and
if he
evidence
just goes,
it. And...
fuck it, let it happen. I mean, it's incredibly careless, but at the same time, I kind of agree with his reasoning. And I think also, just the fact that...
So you put him on like the other end? Is that number 3?
I'm going to leave Gaius at around a 7. It's incredibly tactless, but I think that for somebody who has effectively been shoved in an office and been told, you're going to look at this mountain of blood work, and the thing is, though, I argue
like every
about
doctor
some of
in
this.
the UK.
How is some of that blood going to be legit after 40 years? Because it's not. But anyway, look, I just kind of have a bit of sympathy for the fact that he's stuck in a lab, not doing the kind of work that he wants to do. This is very much beneath him.
But
now.
the fact that he killed half the human race is irrelevant.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a punishment?
Yeah,
we're going up and down on this, so I will make the argument.
I just saying.
I was going to say it's got to have gone up because let's face it, as much as I can understand, at the end of the day, he's still come out of it and gone, oh, I know who Cylons are, but fuck telling those guys.
Yeah, I mean, literally doomed the human race again.
Yeah.
Again.
I'm just saying,
we're gonna sit
I understand that it's incredible, it's very bad what he's done, but I at the same time, I'm just like, we've just said it, he's put in this position where he's going to have to do that all the time. He's going to be, and also, when somebody gets called out, if he turns around to someone and says, you're a Cylon, like, there will be a blowback on him because he created that system.
But let's be honest, he didn't do that for moral reasons. He did it purely because he's lazy and he doesn't want to have to do 60 years of work.
I mean, who wants to do 60 years of work, Ditch?
He should be owing the human race.
Yeah, but he did not give her access knowing that she would destroy the human race. He's lied about the fact that he knew, but ultimately...
Okay, guys, this is becoming very much like the episode.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Who's pumping who?
Okay.
Is this like a pump off?
He's officially sitting at an 8. I'm gonna split the difference on this one.
8. Look, nothing's going to top the fact that he destroyed half the colony. Okay, most of the colony. Okay,
colonies. Remember, there were multiple planets.
Sorry, plural.
Fair enough.
Which leads us back to the. Funny enough, now we have an official Cylon detector. Our Cylon detector.
Well, it's broken, isn't it? I mean, it's never going to work.
Well, I meant you.
I'm going with. Do we want to put Helen on there?
Helen? Who's Helen?
Ellen. Do you want to put Ellen on there? I think it's a waste of a go, really, if I'm really honest.
You know, you can make as many guesses as you want. If you wanted, you'd be like, everyone.
No, definitely not Ellen.
Okay. So, on that note, do we then think
Have we got Adama on there already?
I don't think we do. So, do you think Adama? Especially now that Gaius is going around going, yeah, I'll just say that it's all green.
Sounds like a double bluff, isn't it?
It's a triple bluff.
I think if they had it in there, it would just make it really easy. It would just be like, I think that person's a Cylon 11 hours later. Oh, they're not. You know, it's kind of, they have to have something stopping it, otherwise that'll bring an end to the show really quickly. Relatively speaking.
Yeah. Okay, well, we won't make any changes then.
No changes?
No.
You do understand making guesses does not change the fact you can change your mind at any point.
I don't like that though. You've got to be confident in your guesses.
Yeah. I think, plot card.
Otherwise,
whatever.
you might as well just be, asking Gaius who's a Cylon.
I'm sorry for the boring content and his lack of ability to decide on certain people.
And fantastic jokes.
Right. That is everything for this episode. Is there any more for any more?
Yes.
No.
That was a compliment.
Well, you said be confident in your answer. No, I haven't got any more.
Thank you.
You can't pump me for...
Dude, I'm done pumping. I'm pumped out.
You can't pump me for any more information. This is over.
I'm going to buy you a pair of Nike Air pumps. Reebok pumps.
Great, so they counterfeit before I even got them. Fantastic. Remember, he's confident, guys. He's confident.
So say we all?
So say we all.